These thieves beat up this old and weak-looking guy, but little did they know he was FBI's most lethal hitman and will now come after them one by one. The story opens with Hutch Mansell, a man whose life screams midlife crisis. He's stuck grinding away at a dull job in his father-in-law's factory, and things at home aren't any better. His wife Becca is thriving in her career, while Hutch just blends into the background. Their marriage has grown icy. Becca even puts a pillow wall between them at night. His teenage son Brady barely acknowledges him, though his little daughter Sammy still thinks her dad is the best thing in the world. One night, everything shifts. Just as Hutch is drifting off, a neighbor's dog starts barking. Curious, he goes downstairs to investigate, only to stumble right into a home invasion. A woman points a gun straight at his face, demanding cash and valuables. They take his watch, and Hutch notices a unique tattoo on the woman's wrist. When she reaches for his wedding ring, Hutch's son Blake charges down the stairs and grabs one of the intruders. Hutch raises a golf club, ready to swing, but freezes. Instead, he calmly tells his son to let go. Blake follows his dad's lead, but the intruder still clocks him hard, leaving the boy with a black eye before they bolt. The aftermath is brutal. The cops mock Hutch for not fighting back, adding to his humiliation. His family's disappointed, and Hutch ends up on the couch, where at least Sammy keeps him company, chatting about wanting a cat. The next morning, nothing changes. He misses the garbage truck again, and when Blake asks to interview him for a school veterans project, Hutch dismisses it, calling himself just an auditor, a nobody. Becca suggests Blake interview his uncle instead, since he's a real soldier. Hutch tries to bring up his grandfather's war history, but the moment falls flat. Things get worse when their smug neighbor brags about how he would have handled the intruders if they'd chosen his house before showing off his new car. At work, Hutch's brother-in-law Charlie needles him about not taking action, even putting a gun to his head mockingly before handing it over and telling him to keep his sister safe. Hutch hides the gun in the fridge. Later, his father-in-law Eddie offers to sell him the business, confused why Hutch even wants it. Back in his office, Hutch locks the door and reveals a hidden radio, contacting his supposedly dead brother Harry. Through their chat, we discover Hutch's real past. He wasn't just an average office worker. He was once the FBI's most lethal operative, known as the Cleaner, because no mission ever left survivors. When Harry asks why Hutch didn't kill the intruders, Hutch admits he realized their guns weren't loaded, and he saw their desperation. Later, Hutch visits his father in a nursing home, reminiscing over old photos. Returning home for dinner, Blake continues giving him the cold shoulder, until Sammy casually mentions that her missing kitty bracelet had been in the bowl with the stolen money. That tiny detail flips a switch in Hutch. He retrieves his father's old FBI badge and pistol from storage, his dad instantly recognizing what's about to happen. Hutch scours tattoo parlors across the city until finally flashing his ancient badge at one. The owner laughs it off, pointing out it's been expired for decades, and tries to intimidate him. Hutch stays cool, offering cash to smooth things over, until an elderly man spots Hutch's wrist tattoo, thanks him for his service, and bolts, locking the door behind him. Suddenly, the owner's tone shifts completely. With the address in hand, Hutch tracks the intruders down. He punches the man in the face and shoves a gun to his head, demanding both his watch and the missing bracelet. They hand back the watch, but insist they know nothing about the bracelet. Hutch is seconds from pulling the trigger when a cry rings out. The couple's sick child hooked up to an oxygen mask. The sight freezes Hutch in his tracks. Whatever fury was boiling inside fizzles just enough for him to step back. Still seething, he storms out, venting by smashing his fists against the wall over and over. Unable to shake the rage, he boards a late-night bus hoping to cool down. But peace doesn't last long. A car swerves in front, forcing the bus to stop. 5 rowdy thugs climb aboard, and tension immediately fills the air. A young girl sits alone, fear in her eyes, while the nervous female driver reluctantly unlocks the doors. The goons swagger through the aisle, intimidating passengers. Hutch remains quiet in the back, silently watching, until they surround the girl. Something in him snaps. Calm and collected, he rises, strides straight through the group, and tells the driver to step off. He locks the doors behind her and finally turns to face the punks. Dropping bullets onto the floor one by one, he shows them his empty gun and warns them. They laugh in his face. That's their mistake. Like a bomb finally going off, Hutch unleashes pure carnage. He takes a beating, but dishes out far worse, brutalizing them with fists, elbows, and anything within reach. Just when the fight seems over, one of the thugs, Teddy, grabs Hutch's discarded gun, loads it, and tries to turn the tables. Hutch reacts instantly, crushing Teddy's throat with a metal rod, leaving him gasping for air. Then, in a surprising twist, Hutch actually saves the kid by improvising a makeshift airway with a straw before casually walking off the bus. He even apologizes to the shaken driver on his way out. At home, he finds Becca waiting in the dark, clearly suspicious. She asks where he's been, and Hutch downplays it, hiding the fact that he just obliterated 5 men. As she gently tends to his injuries, he opens up emotionally, confessing how distant their marriage has become, how long it's been since they've even embraced. He tells her he misses her, asking if she remembers how things used to be. Becca responds by removing the pillow barrier between them, showing the first spark of warmth in a long time. But Hutch has no idea his bus brawl has set a storm in motion. Across town, Russian mob boss Yulian Kuznetsov makes a flamboyant entrance at a nightclub, singing and dancing on stage before shifting to business. He rants about babysitting billions in pension funds for the mob and how his own people are doubting him. To prove a point, he kills a shareholder mid-meeting, asking if anyone else wants to question his authority. That's when the call comes in. Teddy, the kid Hutch crushed, is Yulian's younger brother. At the hospital, Yulian glares at his comatose sibling, vowing revenge. He interrogates Teddy's crew with sadistic methods until one cracks, handing over a subway pass picked up during the fight, their only lead. The next morning, Hutch seems lighter, even congratulating his son on a football tackle, saying he's proud. But the mood shifts when his brother Harry calls with a warning. Hutch has drawn the attention of Yulian and needs to see the barber immediately. Reluctantly, Hutch agrees. The barber doesn't sugarcoat it. The guy Hutch left in the ICU is the brother of a powerful Russian kingpin. His advice? Get the family out while he still can. The only saving grace, Yulian doesn't know who Hutch really is. Yet. Meanwhile, Yulian's men trace the subway pass to Hutch's father's nursing home. His secretary even blackmails someone at the Pentagon to dig up Hutch's file. The basic version shows nothing, but when she gets the full classified dossier, she's so horrified she quits on the spot, walking out without even asking for payment. Back home, Hutch cooks dinner, joking about a family trip to Italy. For the first time in a while, the house buzzes with warmth and laughter. But then headlights sweep across the windows. Hutch instantly recognizes the danger. Calmly but firmly, he ushers his family into the basement. What follows is nothing short of mayhem. Hutch unleashes himself like a human weapon, dropping enemies one after another in a frenzy of calculated violence. For a while, it looks like no one can stop him, but even a one-man wrecking crew eventually slows. Pavel finally brings him down with a taser, leaving Hutch twitching as they toss him into a car like discarded luggage. But Hutch is far from beaten. With a grimace, he deliberately snaps his own thumb to slide free from the cuffs, snatches a fire extinguisher, and blindsides his captors with a cloud of smoke. The vehicle careens off course, and before Pavel takes his last breath, Hutch casually reveals who he really is, as if he were talking about the weather. Racing back home, Hutch calls his father to give him a warning, then frees his family from their basement hideout. He shields his young daughter's eyes so she doesn't see the carnage littering their living room. Becca stares at him like she's looking at a stranger, silently demanding an explanation. Hutch promises her answers later. She makes him swear he'll return to them before loading the kids into the car and driving them to safety. Left alone, Hutch arranges the corpses on the couch in a grotesque mock family portrait. Then he finally lays his cards on the table. Once upon a time, Hutch was an elite government assassin, the man they sent after the untouchables. He was the best, feared everywhere, until one mission changed him. Instead of killing his target, Alan, Hutch let him live. Years later, he discovered Alan thriving with a new family. Hutch admits he wasn't jealous of the man, but seeing that life made him want it for himself. That's when he walked away, despite his superiors raging over his decision. Ironically, the silly kitten bracelet that sparked this nightmare turns up under the couch. Before setting his home ablaze, Hutch delivers a grim science lesson to his silent audience, explaining how bone disintegrates at 1500 degrees before igniting the house. He pockets a single family photo, steals his smug neighbor's car, and drives off into the night. Meanwhile, two assassins creep into Hutch's father's nursing home, confident they'll finish him in his sleep. They couldn't be more wrong. David might look like just another old man, but his reflexes are still lethal. Both intruders hit the floor before they even register the gunfire. Nurses rush in seconds later, startled by the echoing shots. Elsewhere, Hutch marches into Eddie's office, dumping a heavy bag of gold bars onto the desk and announcing his takeover of the company. His brother-in-law tries to posture, but Hutch shuts him down so completely that the man nearly breaks into tears. Across town, Yulian watches the news and sees when he learns of Pavel's death. Hutch doesn't waste time. He shutters the family factory and converts it into a personal armory, covering desks with weapons, explosives, and ammo. Over the radio, Harry scolds him, but Hutch ignores it. He's already working on his plan. He storms a stash house where Yulian's crew is counting cash, and chaos erupts the moment he enters. In the carnage, Hutch casually pockets a Van Gogh before torching the place, taking pleasure in watching priceless art and millions in dirty money go up in flames. Fresh from the blaze, he heads to Yulian's nightclub. While Yulian dines with his entourage, Hutch calmly sits across from him, revealing a bomb hidden under a napkin with the detonator resting in his palm. The threat is enough. Everyone freezes while Hutch explains he already burned every asset Yulian owned. Yulian shakes with fury. Hutch spells out his ultimatum: chase him and risk losing everything, or take what little remains and disappear. Then Hutch walks out, bomb in hand, leaving the entire club paralyzed. Enraged beyond reason, Yulian mobilizes his entire army. Streets erupt in gunfire as waves of men pursue Hutch. But he isn't alone. His father David and his brother Harry arrive, seasoned veterans who join him in turning the factory into a death trap. The trio set up elaborate snares that make even the nastiest ambush look like child's play. Thugs drop one after another until only Julian remains. In the final showdown, Julian manages to wound Harry, pushing Hutch past his limit. He rigs a claymore mine to a sheet of bulletproof glass, and Julian's reign ends in a thunderous explosion. Hutch, Harry, and David share a glance before slipping away just as the authorities close in. Before disappearing, Hutch leaves Becca a heartfelt message. And then, almost like fate, the family's missing kitten wanders back into his life. With the cat in tow and a painting under his arm, Hutch walks away. He's quickly arrested, but he stays calm, lighting a cigarette and even pulling out cat food for his new companion. When the officers grill him, he answers with 2 words.
Nobody.
Moments later, his phone rings. Something changes in his face, and suddenly he's released without question. 3 months later, Hutch and Becca are house hunting when his phone buzzes again. His services are still in demand. Meanwhile, Harry and David cruise down an open highway in an RV, heading toward their next secret mission.